Good day, everyone. My name is Scott Reich, and this is Crime Talk. Today is the weekly recap of all the top stories that we brought to you throughout the week, all conveniently located in one space. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time on Crime Talk. Next on the docket, Buster Murdaugh denies any involvement with the death of Stephen Smith. Now, Buster Murdaugh on Monday, today, publicly denied being involved in the death of a teenager. Now, Mr. Buster Murdaugh was the sole surviving son of convicted murderer Alex Murdaugh, and he issued a statement through, guess what? His attorneys, guess who? Dick Harpootlian and Jim Griffin. And they're refuting any rumors that he was involved in Stephen Smith's July 2015 death. The statement was issued hours before Stephen Smith's mother and her attorneys held a press conference. They said, quote, "This has gone on far too long. These baseless rumors of my involvement with Stephen and his death are false. I unequivocally deny involvement in his death, and my heart goes to the Smith family." Now, if you don't recall, in 2015, Smith's body was found in the middle of a rural road in Hampton County. Smith was a classmate of Buster Murdaugh, and Smith's death was ruled a hit and run, but his family has called for the body to be exhumed and for a new autopsy to be performed. Sandy Smith, Stephen's mother, started an online fundraiser to pay for this process of having the body exhumed. And as of Monday, that GoFundMe page has $65,000. They were only expecting to raise $15,000. Now, attorneys Eric Bland and Ronnie Richter of the Bland Richter law firm held a news conference about Stephen's death. At the conference, the law firm said it was representing Sandy Smith in the investigation, and Smith's family believes that Stephen was murdered, and they want an unbiased look at his body in an independent autopsy to accurately determine his cause of death, the law firm stated at their little news conference. Now, during the news conference, Bland said, listen to this, "There's no indication that anyone from the Murdaugh family was involved in Smith's death." Now, a lot of people have been throwing other rumors out there and allegations, but the attorneys know, yeah, you can get sued for defamation. So you see how yes, we want an independent investigation, and we're not saying anything about any of those Murdaugh boys doing anything wrong. Let me know what you think. Anyway, while investigating the death of Buster's mother and younger brother, Maggie and Paul, the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, also now known to everybody as SLED, announced that it had uncovered new information about Stephen's death. SLED hasn't said what that information was, and there's been obviously no arrests or anything along that line. But the Murdaughs have never been officially linked to Smith's death by anyone, particularly SLED. And SLED has never charged Buster Murdaugh with a crime related to Smith's death, nor have they said he's the target of an investigation. Buster also said in his statement, "I have tried my best to ignore these vicious rumors about my involvement in Stephen Smith's tragic death, but that continues to be published in the media as I grieve over the brutal murder of my mother and brother." He said that he loves them so much, and I miss them terribly. I haven't spoken up until now because I want to live in private while I cope with the deaths and my father's incarceration. Before, during, and since my father's trial, I have been targeted and harassed by the media and followers of the story. I am requesting that the media immediately stop publishing these defamatory comments and rumors about me. Obviously, we give Buster Murdaugh the presumption of innocence. He has never been charged of anything. And if somebody's got the, in America, you just don't get to throw out allegations and not make them stick. If you got it, you charge it. If you don't, you don't. But the public smear of an allegation can be, frankly, just as bad as actually being charged. So if the government has it, they should charge it. If they don't have enough information, then you know what? They should probably make a statement saying we don't consider him a target. Or if he is, let him know so that he can do what he needs to do. And in this case, Mr. Harpootlian and Mr. Griffin given new meaning to the word family attorney. Okay, this is breaking news, and this is, well, a little unexpected. And I haven't seen the court's order, but hopefully we'll have it before we go live tonight at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, where we will obviously be discussing the breaking news in the Lori Vallow case. Well, what is the news, you say, Scott? Well, the news is Judge Stephen Boyce, a man who's given the prosecution everything they've wanted, kind of up here till the very end, made a ruling on the motion to dismiss the death penalty against Lori Vallow. And guess what? And he decided no death penalty for Lori Vallow. Now, Judge Boyce granted this motion, removing it from the case, the death penalty, to ensure, quote, the right of the defendant to a fair trial is protected. Now, I'm not really sure what the heck that means since I haven't heard the judge's ruling yet, but I'm going to find out. As you may recall, Lori Vallow's attorneys basically said, hey, there's been a lot of errors throughout this process. The prosecution has failed to turn over documents. Lori Vallow is clearly has mental health issues, and why are we going to do the death penalty? Because frankly, nobody has ever been put to death in Idaho like in the last 38 years. So I'm not exactly sure what they're doing, if he's blaming it on the prosecutors, if it's the mental health issues or what, but tune in tonight at 6 p.m. and hopefully we'll have more information. The judge also ruled on a motion to compel the prosecutors to turn over all written and recorded statements made by Chad Daybell, Lori Vallow's husband, while he was in custody. Obviously, the decision to remove the death penalty applies only to Lori Vallow's case, which is why we really want to see what is going on here. Was it because the case has been set outside a speedy trial? Was it mental health issues? What was it? It's unclear, and since they don't televise these types of things, I got to go listen to the recording, which, like I said, I'll hopefully do that before our live tonight. Anyway, since the cases were severed, it doesn't apply to Chad's case. He still faces the death penalty. Well, needless to say, the prosecutors, the Madison County prosecutors at Rob Wood and Fremont County prosecuting attorney Lindsay Blake were disappointed, and they issued a joint statement. While we are disappointed and respectfully disagree with today's decision, we will continue to vigorously pursue justice for Tammy, Tylee, and JJ. Okay, what does this mean? What this means is Lori Vallow has won. Her attorneys, hats off to them. Regardless of whatever happens here, they've beat the death penalty, okay? I've told you, I've only had one case that was going to go death. We ultimately convinced the district attorney not to go death, but at that point, you knew you had already won. And I also told you, if the prosecutors were going to lose this case, it's going to be on the prosecution. And maybe this kind of continuous failure to disclose and lack of turning over the appropriate evidence at the time is finally coming back to bite them. Remember what I've always said. A good prosecutor is going to turn over the defense, say, I'm going to give you everything you want, and I'm still going to convict your client. When they start holding things back, when they start hiding things, whether intentionally or through incompetence, you know that you're not dealing with prosecutors that are up to the task at hand. And I really liked Mr. Wood. I really did. I thought he was really good in the preliminary hearing. Anyway, was Judge Boyce considering dismissing the entire case against Lori Vallow? Let's take a look. Obviously, we talked about it yesterday, that there was a hearing in the Lori Vallow matter, and the court ultimately dismissed the death penalty charges against Lori Vallow. Why? Because the prosecution has screwed this case up so bad. So I wanted to go through the minutes from the court proceeding because I think it gives you a little better flavor of what was taking place and kind of a pattern on the part of the district attorney that has developed over the course of the last 3 years in this particular case. Anyway, so the hearing was on March 21st. The court's in session. Everybody is assembled. The court then says he'll issue an oral decision on the motions that were heard last Thursday.
The court will proceed with a ruling on the motions to compel. The court goes over what was requested in the motion to compel. The court finds that the state did comply with the request and did not order any further discovery. Defendant's motion to compel is denied. The court will issue the orders. The court has gone through the motion in limine. Court will not issue an oral decision, but will issue a written ruling on the matter, and he hopes to have that by March 22nd of 2023. The court will not issue the ruling on the motion to dismiss the death penalty. There are 4 reasons that the death penalty should be dismissed: media saturation, multiple discovery violations, mental state of the defendant, means to carry out the death sentence. The court will address the discovery violations. The court goes through the timeline of the case. Disclosures before February 27th, 2023, the court deems were in fact timely. Disclosures made on February 27th, 2023 were late. The disclosures were made in March and they're late. The court finds the disclosures made on February 27th were late, but that they were deemed timely, and the discovery made in March, which is the jail phones, the jail phone calls were late, and the trial court has the discretion to impose sanctions. Court finds that they have been discovery violations. There have been no Brady violations, which is saying, hey, this is exculpatory information that you didn't turn over, and basically finding that there was no real bad faith on the part of the prosecutors. But it says the defense does not have time to review the discovery before the trial, and the court has considered an argument of Mr. Archibald, and the court notes that he has worked with Mr. Archibald, Mr. Wood, and Miss Blake in hundreds of cases, and the defense has exhibited prejudice in the discovery in this case. And having so determined that prejudice does exist in this matter, the court is not going to sanction and must find a remedy for the prejudice that has taken place. The court cannot delay the trial because the defendant has not waived her speedy trial rights, and the court goes over these options, which included dismissing the case in its entirety or striking the death penalty. The court concluded that dismissing the case would be too much of an extreme sanction, but goes over the considerations for the sanctions and ultimately strikes the death penalty as it relates to Lori Vallow. The court also determines that the late disclosure has prejudice to the defense, and the court finds that the state is precluded from seeking the death penalty and will strike the intent to seek the death penalty from the court records. Then there was a late motion filed last night, but the determination was already made, and will find that the motion was late. The determination is only for this case and has no impact on the companion case. The court will issue an order on this matter. So the prosecution, knowing that the court was going to rule, filed a response or supplemental information late, which has been the track record for the prosecution in this case. Now, everybody wants justice for J.J., Tylee, and Tammy Daybell. But the reality of it is, ladies and gentlemen, the prosecution has really messed this case up over the next 3 years. Hopefully, the prosecution is able to put their case in chief together in a thoughtful and clear manner so that the jury can make their determination of what needs to be done. I just hope they, don't show up late. That's right. Lori Vallow has hit the road. Take a look at this picture. Yep, there she is. Looks like they stopped for a potty break on the way up to Ada County, up to Boise for her trial. As you may recall, the judge signed the transport order for Lori Vallow. Her trial is to begin on April 3rd. And guess what? She made it. She's officially an inmate at the Ada County Jail. She's even on the inmate roster. And look, we have a new picture. Her new booking photo. Look at that. Getting all ready for trial. Look at her. It's only taken 3 years. And I'm not trying to throw stones here at the prosecution, but they've managed to screw this thing up literally from the beginning. The only other person that was involved in this case originally that could possibly have bungled it even worse than the prosecution has, was Lori Vallow's previous attorney, Mark Means. But the court did everything it could and ultimately kicked him off the case. Makes you wonder if maybe somebody at the DA's office in this particular case, Madison and Fremont counties, maybe they should have asked the attorney general to step in, where they had a little bit more money, more resources, more attorneys to take on a case, ultimately where the district attorneys thought the death penalty was appropriate, only to have it dismissed by the court because of their bungling, failing to turn over discovery items that should have been turned over literally at some point 3 years previous. I hope they get their game together, and let's see what the evidence is going to be.
Like many Americans, we got a dog during the pandemic. My quarantine dog, Miss Winnie the Bulldog. Now, Miss Winnie has grown accustomed to being around us all the time. When we were leaving the house, Winnie would have extreme anxiety, so we decided to look for natural products to help with her anxiety. We looked for the highest quality CBD treats, and we were not satisfied, and neither was Winnie. So we created a high-quality CBD product that absorbs faster and provides the required results faster. Baked in Colorado CBD treats and beverage enhancers are made with nanotechnology. The nanotechnology makes the CBD extraction more pure, also allows for Baked in Colorado products to work faster. Baked in Colorado products can help reduce your pet's anxiety, ease joint pain, and help with your dog's skin problems. Go to our online store and see what Baked in Colorado product is best for your dog. When you order at bakedincolorado.com, enter code WINNIE and receive 15% off your first order. We have a 30-day money-back guarantee. If your dog does not experience the desired results in 30 days, return the product and we will refund your money. No questions asked.
Anyway, Stephen Smith, apparently a rape kit was ordered in the hours after Stephen Smith's body was found lying dead in the middle of the county road. The 19-year-old was initially believed to have been killed in a hit and run on or about July 8th, 2015, but this week it was announced that the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, aka SLED, was investigating his death as a murder. Now, Michael Duncan, a former South Carolina Highway Patrol supervisor, told reports that the rape kit was ordered within 13 hours of Smith's death, something he had never encountered in his years investigating a fatal traffic accident. As you may recall, earlier this week, in fact, Monday example, Buster Murdaugh, denied vicious rumors about his alleged involvement in his classmate's death. And obviously there's been several high-profile documentaries by HBO and Netflix that aired claims that the pair were allegedly linked romantically. Stephen Smith's mother, Sandy, implicated Buster in her death in a 2016 letter to the FBI, which resurfaced this week, resurfacing to gossip that Buster Murdaugh, who graduated with Stephen, beat Stephen to death with a baseball bat. Now, Highway Patrol Officer Duncan said Smith's wounds were inconsistent with a traffic accident, and the local sheriff's department and Highway Patrol police officers informed SLED they believe the death should be investigated as a homicide. However, a subsequent autopsy by a pathologist in Charleston found that Smith's head wound was caused by blunt force trauma consistent with a vehicular collision or some other blunt force object, perhaps, like a bat. When the results were returned, Highway Patrol did not want to take the case, insisting that SLED should be following up with a homicide probe. The family attorney confirmed that a rape kit had been ordered, and it's not clear what the results were or if the test was actually conducted or the results tested as of yet.